Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and today I am ranking the Disney Renaissance films. The Disney Renaissance era typically encompasses the late 80s through the majority of the 1990s, when Disney, after a long slump of not really well received either commercially or critically films, they regained their stride. They came back with a vengeance, starting with The Little Mermaid, lasting all the way through to Tarzan. But that doesn't mean all of these films were fantastic, and while I think the majority of the 10 are actually some of Disney's best work, I'm a 90s baby and grew up on Disney Renaissance films, so they're always going to hold a special place in my heart. But they do also rank as some of the most critically praised and commercially successful films within Disney's illustrious history. So for this ranking, I won't be taking into account any sort of critical reception, any sort of box office numbers. This is completely and totally 100% my personal ranking. So I'm sure your ranking looks quite a bit different than mine, and I'd love to hear that. Just remember, this is my list. So don't kill me, okay? So without further ado, let's just jump right in with number 10, The Rescuers Down Under. To me, this is a vast improvement over the first Rescuers film. The animation looks stunning, and the story is a very quaint story about our two little rescuers. However, once you look at it in the scheme of the Renaissance, it's very forgettable. There's not a lot of standout moments. Of course, there aren't the songs, of course it doesn't have those songs to really help it stand out, like pretty much every other Disney Renaissance film has, but it just kind of gets lost in the shuffle. It's definitely not amongst the top tier of Disney, and probably falls somewhere in the lower mid-range. So when it comes to arguably the company's strongest point in their entire history, lower middle of the pack doesn't quite cut it. At number 9, I have The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Of course, I can relate to Quasimodo. I mean, look at me, I'm basically a walking real-life hunchback. And there is so much in this film to really enjoy. Of course, the animation is absolutely gorgeous, and I love Esmeralda. It's always nice to see Princess of Color roaming around doing her thing. And Frollo is actually a really intimidating villain. His song is a really well-crafted song, even though I think it's a little bit extra dark for this kind of film. But there's also a lot about the Hunchback that doesn't gel all that well with me. Outside of Hellfire, there's not really a song that I connected with, and even with Hellfire, I don't connect with it. I just recognize it as a well-crafted piece of music. But none of the songs here stand up to the songs in pretty much any of the other Disney Renaissance musicals. Those gargoyles are just in the way and annoying. The themes are themes that we explore quite a bit, and I think this film, just in general, is too dark. The contrasts are too heavy when it comes to Hunchback. We go from this super rapey darkness over here to these super jokey, kiddish gargoyles, and the mix just never quite adds up to me. I think it is a solid animated film, and definitely not one of Disney's worst. However, I just never really loved it. At number 8, I have Tarzan. What a beautiful film. I think this is one of the coolest looking animation styles that Disney did when it came to animation. The movie just looks fantastic. And of course, we all know the story of Tarzan, and I think it is executed very well here. But kind of like the other films, for me, I just didn't connect with it all that much. I do think that part of it is a completely monotone soundtrack. While we all love Phil Collins, and I do think he did a really good job with writing all the music, and of course he sang it all very well, it just felt a bit monotone having him sing throughout the entirety of the film. We didn't get that variety. We didn't get that mix-up. It felt like a Phil Collins CD set over the top of this lovely animation. There are, of course, cute moments with all of these baby animals throughout, but ultimately Tarzan just didn't really vibe with me personally. So it looks beautiful. It's a perfectly well-crafted movie, just not one that I revisit as often as these top 7. At number 7, I have The Little Mermaid. Blasphemy, I know, The Little Mermaid all the way down at number 7. Well, when we're looking at the positives, the music is undeniably super catchy and fantastic, and Poor Unfortunate Souls is top 3 villain song material for me personally. Ursula herself is just a fabulous, fantastic, wonderful villain that I just love seeing on the screen. But therein lies the problem a little bit for me with The Little Mermaid. I don't really like Ariel, and I much preferred spending time with Ursula, if we're being honest. I just find Ariel's motives to be questionable throughout the entirety of the film. She feels very bratty, and then we get the whole turn with the guy, and you don't really understand why she has this fascination with giving everything up to go up to Earth. We know she wants to be a part of that world. It's a really weird feminist message with being willing to give up your biggest talent and give up your voice and your speaking rights to go and walk amongst humans and be with the prince. It's a very weird message. One that I do think maybe gets blown out of proportion in what it says, but one that I do think doesn't completely work when you look at it. The side characters are great. Flounder and Sebastian, they're all wonderful. Our villain is wonderful, but they all kind of outshine our 2 leads for me personally. So that's why Little Mermaid is stuck at number 7. At number 6, I have Pocahontas. Even more controversial, I put Pocahontas above Ariel in The Little Mermaid. But we all know this is not historically accurate, even in the slightest. And it probably would have benefited Disney to not make this story called Pocahontas and maybe craft a story about Sacagawea or another influential Native American princess. Or they could have just made one up themselves. There's always that option. But kind of like something such as The Greatest Showman, when you don't go into this film expecting a history lesson, it's a very well-crafted film in my opinion. The animation is absolutely stunning. And y'all know I'm a borderline hippie when it comes to environmentalism and animals themselves. So the message speaks straight to my heart. I love the message coming to a head with the song Savages and Misunderstanding. And of course I love the song Colors of the Wind, because who doesn't love Colors of the Wind? But all the music here is so good. Just Around the River Bend, we have Grandmother Willow's hymn, Listen with Your Heart. It all just is so beautiful. My big problems when it comes to Pocahontas? Well, the villain. Ratcliffe is just very one-note and pretty annoying. And his song is by far the weak link in the musical numbers here. And I do wish it would have been a little bit more historically accurate. I wish we didn't basically just have a white woman parading around as a Native American woman. She was very anglicized in her animation. But honestly, it's a beautiful film that delivers amazing messages for all ages, and I enjoy myself with Pocahontas. At number 5, I have Hercules. We just gotta accept at some point that Disney is not gonna go by the history books. It is not gonna go by your Greek mythology and the rules that have been set in place. They're gonna take a vague idea and do whatever they want with it. Because Hercules is in no way a good representation of the Hercules myth and legend from Greek mythology. That doesn't make it any less fun. The music here is wonderful. Thankfully, we get these fabulous muses who just kill it. We get Meg, this headstrong, awesome female lead in this movie who has one of the most underappreciated and unrecognized Disney songs of all time, according to my estimation, with I Won't Say I'm in Love. Oh, it's so good. And Hades is so good in this movie. Fast talking, super fun, super funny, just slimeball, car salesman, awesomeness. I think Hercules also goes through a really nice development, as does Meg. All of our characters really see nice movement throughout the film. And I just love baby Pegasus. I can't get over him. So Hercules is just a lot of fun. It doesn't execute everything as well as you would hope it would. It doesn't have those big standout set pieces or those iconic songs that the other Renaissance films have, but it's a whole lot of fun, especially when you go back and revisit it. It's one of those films that takes you back, like, oh, I forgot what a good time this movie is. At number 4, I have Mulan. Another shaky recounting of an actual true story. Mulan is a film that I've never understood the backlash from feminists, because this film is probably Disney's most feminist film up until maybe something like Frozen. It provided some of the most iconic, amazing songs in the Disney canon, with I'll Make a Man Out of You and Reflection, but even all of our minor songs are really good when it comes to Mulan. Our side characters are fantastic. Mushu, Eddie Murphy at the top of his game. He was so good in this. We have this kind of strange, but really fantastic, if you ask me, same-sex question going on throughout the film. This weird call to question of masculinity and sexuality as an undertone of the movie that works so well. Plus, the action is great. I think there definitely are some conveniences when it comes to that action, but we get some awesome little moments of drag. We get this beautiful story of flipping the gender stereotype right on its head, and there's a whole lot of fun to be had in there. So, I love Mulan. That's why it's number 4. Kicking off the top 3, I have Aladdin. What is not to love about Aladdin? First of all, the animation is absolutely stunning. The hybrid between 2D and 3D animation in this film works spectacularly well. And in particular, just that big old tiger's head that they have to go into is so stunning. Plus, Aladdin is an awesome character, this scoundrel, a true rags to riches, wonderful character who sees great development throughout his tale. Jasmine is a wonderfully headstrong, awesome Disney princess of color, and Raja is epic. Plus, Abu, the magic carpet, it all is so fantastic. And then, of course, we get the amazing Robin Williams in his role as the genie, who is one of, if not the best Disney sidekick to date. He was just fantastic. He chewed up that scenery. He made every line pop whenever he was on screen. And when speaking of that music, there are so many iconic songs within this film, from A Friend Like Me to, obviously, A Whole New World. Aladdin just does everything right in my book. Maybe it drags just a bit in the middle portions, but I absolutely love this film. It was always one of my favorites growing up, and still looking back and rewatching, I think it is one of Disney's best films, period. So now, we are at the top 2, and I'm gonna be honest, I told you all, I love the Disney Renaissance. It holds a special place in my heart, and I think as a whole, this is the strongest time period in Disney's history. So guess what? Not only are these my top 2 when it comes to the Disney Renaissance ranking, these are my top 2 favorite Disney films of all time. So, who comes in my runner-up position? Well, that's The Lion King. If you would have asked me any time throughout my childhood, what is your favorite Disney movie? The Lion King would be instantly what came out of my mouth. This was my favorite movie for so long. It was my first theatrical experience, my first time, little child Larry heading off into the theater to watch The Lion King. And I was absolutely stunned. You want to talk about a perfect soundtrack? The Lion King delivers. Elton John wrote these songs to perfection. They are so good, and there's so many iconic songs, and they even make you sing along when you don't know the words. You don't know the language even, and it's amazing. I mean, yes, it is basically Hamlet with lions, but who cares? It's done expertly well. It's one of our best adaptations of Hamlet to the big screen in history. So the animation is gorgeous. Those songs are amazing. I love our characters. Again, is Simba a little bit whiny? Yeah, because he's Hamlet, so. But our side characters are wonderful. I personally love Timon and Pumbaa. I love Rafiki. Nala is awesome. And then we get to Scar, who is, in my book, the best Disney villain ever, with the best Disney villain song ever. Jeremy Irons is so fantastic in this role, and Scar just steals all of the scenes, all of them. And then James Earl Jones comes back to deliver another iconic role with Mufasa. Everything in The Lion King works for me. Just perfect film. So, how could a perfect film be at number 2? Well, because Disney has another perfect film, and that is Beauty and the Beast. Yes, I'm a cliche. Yes, I have Aladdin, Lion King, and now Beauty and the Beast is my top 3. But what can I say? Good is good, amazing is amazing, and these 3 films are amazing. And when speaking on Beauty and the Beast in particular, I think this film is the best animated film of all time. From any studio, any time era, this is my favorite. This is the pinnacle. The only to get nominated for Best Picture when there were only 5 nominees. Multiple Academy Award winner. Beauty and the Beast is stunning. It deserves all of those accolades. I mentioned Aladdin infusing 3D animation with the 2D style. Well, guess what? Beauty and the Beast one-upped it. It did it even a little bit better. The ballroom scene is one of the most iconic scenes in all of Disney. The soundtrack is absolutely amazing. When it comes to the actual cut, when we're not counting human again, there's not a dud amongst the bunch. Every single song in this film is amazing. It's hard to actually pick the best one. Is it Be Our Guest? Is it Belle? Or is it the title song, Beauty and the Beast? They're all so good. Plus, people can yell Stockholm Syndrome all they want. But honestly, I think it's earned. I think it is a well-developed, beautiful romance that is earned, that sends the proper message, in particular, of falling in love with someone for who they are, without having to give up who you are. That's the beauty of Belle. She is headstrong, she is intelligent, and she's looking for more than love. I still think she is one of the best feminist icons when it comes to the Disney princesses. She is a wonderful character who herself goes through great development. The Beast goes through more development than any of the other princes, and maybe all of the other princes combined, if we're being honest. He gets more screen time and a whole lot more development. Our side characters are fantastic. Lumiere is one of the best sidekicks in all of Disney history. Cogsworth, Mrs. Potts, all of them. Even Philippe is fantastic. It's one that I just put on whenever I'm feeling down, whenever I need a pick-me-up. I legitimately just think Beauty and the Beast is perfect. And that is why I have it as the #1 film of the Disney Renaissance. So, that is my ranking of the Disney Renaissance films. What did you think of how I ranked the films? And more importantly, make sure to share your ranking of the Renaissance films in the comment section down below. Or let's talk Disney over on Twitter. And while you're here, make sure that you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!